All right, welcome everybody to the session on how SaaS is going to transform telco. Very excited to have an awesome cast of characters here with me today. We're going to spend some time talking about the challenges they have as SaaS companies helping our telco industry really transition to the next level. So I'll start with Danielle. Maybe you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, Telco DR, Danielle Royston. Everyone knows me as DR. I'm the CEO, acting CEO of Totogi, which is a SaaS company, true SaaS, 100% built on AWS. So psyched to be here.
Hello, Munir Latki. I'm co-founder, president, and CTO of MyCom OSI. We're a company in service assurance, analytics, and automation for telcos. We started as an on-prem company, but we've done, through a fantastic collaboration with AWS, we've migrated to a SaaS model, and we're serving some of the largest CSPs globally. So very happy to be here today.
So, I'm Leandro Cesac. I'm the founder and CEO of Intraway. We do Symphonica, the cloud-native, AI-first, end-to-end no-code OSS running on AWS. So excited to be here too.
Thank you all for being here. I am your host today. I am Shivas Nambiar. I'm the GM for the business. Excited to have you here because we've been talking about SaaS getting into the telco marketplace. Tell me about what's working and what's not working, and maybe you can start with you, Leandro.
I think that our customers, 10 years ago, we thought it was going to be more difficult, maybe wait a generation until all the telcos would move to the cloud when we decided to change our mission and put it like moving all the telecom industry to the cloud, but it's happening faster. Mm-hmm. It's happening faster. We have seen a lot of old schoolers actually coming to us and asking about going to pure SaaS. Not just installing in the cloud, but running on the public multi-tenant solution, which is cool.
Yeah.
Anyone else? What have your experiences been?
Well, I mean, with SaaS for us, it's been, telcos have historically run all their workloads under their own roof, under their own control, managing the entire stack. And I think evangelizing SaaS has been a big goal of mine, just to educate, because I think it's really easy for old school vendors to say they offer SaaS, and it's a really commercial model, right? It's a subscription. You pay, pay for what you use, but really it's not really true. And so for us, it's been kind of really telling that story and educating them about the technical platform and the multi-tenancy.
Yeah, I think also from our side, what we've seen is really there was some resistance initially. And that was because this is a highly regulated industry, maybe unlike other enterprise sectors, where you have a lot of concerns about security, about data governance, sovereignty, the privacy, and so on. Especially when it comes to the domain in which we operate, which is the heart of the network, which is really the core of the business of the telcos. And so there was always this apprehension. I think we've made a long way, specifically working together with AWS security experts in kind of alleviating a lot of these concerns, but they still do exist. And I think we still have some regulatory, sometimes policy hurdles that stand in the way. But where we had those discussions, we were able really to achieve great benefits with the customers in terms of agility, scalability, elasticity. And basically what works well is, I would say, we turned month into days. Absolutely. So in terms of time to value, that is just phenomenal. So when we make it happen, we can see a lot of benefits, but we still have some way to go to bring the entire industry to this model, specifically in the core of the network.
I mean, it's one of the reasons why Totogi selected AWS as our core, our only cloud. And that was because AWS has the most regions in the world, right? I think you guys are approaching north of 35. And when you start to look at the regulatory and data privacy and sovereignty issues, almost every country has a data center of AWS they can use. It's not 100%, but every year, every time you open up a new one, like we cheer because it's opening up new countries. And I think I saw one of the AWS top engineers, talking about like, why do you guys open up new regions? And it really does open up more revenue for you. But it also, for us in this highly regulated space of telco, like every time you open up a region, you're opening up countries for us to be able to serve customers. So for us, that was like a fundamental decision, right? It wasn't like, oh, which cloud should we go with? Shrug your shoulders, let's go with AWS. We felt it was an important technical decision to go with AWS because telco is global. They have regulated, and you guys had the most regions. So there's like one of many reasons why we picked AWS. And so when you're building a SaaS platform, very intentionally, cloud first, AI first, AWS was a no-brainer for us.
And yet you said it goes from months to days. Our telco customers are not all jumping in to jump in with us. Why not?
I'll build on that. 10 years ago, when we sign a customer, we will tell them you need to get 10 servers, install database, this and that, and culminate months because procurement will take a lot and installing and all of that. We're seeing nowadays, and the lead is on the US, maybe because of all of these issues, data sovereignty issues, but we have 10 customers in the US that are in the public SaaS multi-tenant platform, and they got there mainly because of the timing. Like we were able to onboard them in 1 or 2 months at most, and that's unheard of in the telecom industry.
So is the problem that we're not telling the story of these successes louder?
We're not. There is a bit of that, not telling the story, but there is also a bit of another something also a little bit adjacent to it, which is the business case, because also we're not good, I think, at educating enough on the business case. Is then the customers will tell you, okay, my OpEx is now increasing. You're selling me the same app, but when it goes SaaS, especially for people like us who are on-prem and now are offering the SaaS version of it, say, yeah, but the price has increased. Well, yes, but because you're not getting the same value proposition, you're getting far more benefits and you're getting the infra. They go, okay, but hold on, the infra is sunk cost, it exists. Yeah, but it doesn't come at zero cost, right? And educating, helping to harness, really to build the business case, and then comparing apples with apples is where really we see the difficulty. Because it's not easy, and you need to bring the CTO, for example, in my case, we sell to mostly CTOs. They're not talking to their peer, in the data center. The budget is with someone else. So as far as the CTO is concerned, that is zero cost. But for the company as a whole, it is not. So there is this, this education and, that we need on the business case and the real benefits that we really need to be better at conveying to the customers.
Yeah, for Totogi in our sales cycles, we found that as well. And so what we do very early on is do a total TCO. We call it the iceberg. So when people compare our price to, say, another competitor, they're looking at just that application. But underneath the surface of the water is the hardware, the people, the data center costs, electricity, right? That is the iceberg of what is the total cost. And when you compare that, we're cheaper, but they don't think that way. And that's a big thing that we got to educate them on SaaS. That it's not just the stuff you see above the water, but it's the entire iceberg.
And then back to security, they also get managed services. And we invest in security probably more for those 20 customers that Symphonica has in the cloud now from all over the Americas than what they will invest, each one of them. We do pen testing every month. We do everything.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't get that if it's on-prem.
Yeah. We have been talking a little bit about benefits, but not directly. We've been talking about business cases and cost. Benefits in this context is also all about innovation. If you've been here for the last 2 days, innovation's all been about Gen AI.
Yeah.
I have a point of view that a lot of telcos depend on their partners like yourselves to bring innovation into their businesses.
Absolutely.
Tell me about how you think about Gen AI driving that innovation cycle. Is this going to be better for you? Is it going to accelerate you? What's your thought?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm going to be the big crazy Gen AI person on the panel. But I think just comparing old ways of deploying workloads to SaaS, we can put a feature, a Gen AI feature into our application. 100% of the customers have it while they sleep. Mm-hmm. And you think about the old school vendors, kind of under your roof, single tenant, they got to go, maybe they come up with a good Gen AI feature. It's going to be an upgrade at a time. They're thinking in terms of version numbers, and we think in terms of the platform. And so I think Gen AI is going to be super huge. There's tons of stats out there from Gartner, from McKinsey, about how enterprises, including telcos, are allocating big budgets to Gen AI projects. They think it's real. They're going to spend on it. And so vendors, just walking around MWC are seeing all the AI buzz and all the AI features. And I'm like, yeah, but how are you guys going to get that to the customer? It's going to take you years to get it to them. Not because the development's going to take that long, but because everyone has to go through an upgrade. And telco, which is super customized, those are 18-month upgrades. But you think about Totogi being a platform. I mean, we put in a Gen AI feature, I think, in September, and everyone on the platform could use it instantly. So I think people will really gravitate towards SaaS because of Gen AI features and being able to, well, I just get it overnight. I don't have to go through an upgrade. It's done for me. I'm going to move a lot faster if I'm using a true SaaS platform.
Are you seeing the same for MyCom?
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen it when we've decided to add what now the industry is calling the old AI, which is the predictive AI, the machine learning, which makes me laugh because in telcos, in their operations, they're barely experimenting machine learning right now. But I'll come
Old
to Gen
AI.
AI, old AI, there's old stuff. When we started,
The old AI.
exactly. So
I think we call it classic AI.
yeah, let's call it classic AI.
Some people will.
Yeah, but I like your point. You're like, it's old AI that you actually didn't even use.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You're not even using old AI and you want to use new AI. But please continue.
Exactly. And so we started, by the way, we had two things. First, AWS, and this is maybe what operate the CSPs, our customers don't really get, that to build and operate AI at scale, you need a new stack. First, AWS in the cloud is giving us all those managed services, the components to run the machine learning, the MLOps, the pipelines, all the training and the inference. And that if you want to manage all of that yourself, it will be a big hurdle to overcome. So that's on the one hand. On the innovation side, I can talk about our experience. The product that we've launched was based on and started, the genesis was the think backwards process. We sat with the AWS Innovation Lab, the digital lab, and we designed what that product would look like, what the benefits for the customers, what the use cases are. And from there, we took it, we made it happen, we brought it to the market with very exciting, we're bringing benefits such as 90% reduction in mean time to identify when you're using forecasting and anomaly detection compared to the regular approaches. So the benefits you can think of are just absolutely phenomenal.
And in a SaaS environment, you get it like that.
Yeah, and just to add one thing, also on the machine learning, for telco, you need, when you do forecasting, we're doing it because we want to drive automation. So there, you need to have very high accuracy because you can't just drive automation with low accuracy. Otherwise, you go into a catastrophe with your network. To achieve that, you need high volume of training, massive. Millions of models, as in millions of models, need to be trained to achieve the desired accuracy. And we've optimized that on the cloud. And both from an operational perspective as well as the economics would work only if there is if we have the cloud and the SaaS model and the scale and the elasticity that is offered by the cloud. And I'll talk about Gen AI later because I want to give the opportunity to my colleagues. But that's essential.
What you're saying is exactly probably half of what we wrote in a white paper a few weeks ago. Cloud is required for autonomous networks. You cannot do it without the cloud. AI is required for sure, but we don't know if it's going to be Gen AI. Maybe in 4 or 5 years we have something completely new. So being in the cloud and making things, making it component of what you have. And as you said, September you started, and now everybody's using it. It allows us to be more nimble. In the case of Symphonica, we do OSS. And the other part of the white paper is we decided that the OSS should be no code end-to-end. So when you create the workflows and the connectors to the network elements, we save them in just a configuration file. It's a JSON file, which your product can understand and can suggest modifications to us. So it's not just a monolithic AI agent that's managing the network. That agent, we are actually arguing for a multi-agent approach for what you're doing, where you have your product talking to our product, and we might say, no, we don't want to make that change, or we might say yes, or come with another thing. And Gen AI is probably the key to this, and it can understand what's going on in the network with, the old ML and the classic AI can understand what's going on and predict, but Gen AI can understand our configuration, yours too, and then just suggest modifications to improve what's going on the network.
Yeah, by the way, on the Gen AI, and we've launched a product called Genie, collaborating with AWS on Bedrock. What we've shown here, and really the customers are, they can't, they're amazed with it, with what they saw. We tell them, now you can talk to your network. That ability to bridge between the natural language and the machine and the network language, and the fact that in such a short time we were able to train an LLM that is to augment its capacity, because we're not retraining the LLM, but we're augmenting its capacity to understand network performance, network events, quality of service. And they're able to ask questions in their just natural language, say, what's happening to my network? It opens up massive opportunities.
I'll add you something. We just added in the OSS the capability that every time that you process an order from the CRM, we'll talk to the API and we tell them, like, we just provisioned this new ONT or this new mobile phone. So you can not only ask about what's going on in the network, but the Gen AI machine, Bedrock, or can understand what should be going on the network, not just what's going on the network. So it's pretty cool.
Everybody's like animated and passionate about Gen AI. I love this. If I can also kind of fast forward a little bit, and we've been talking about APIs, and you start talking about, hey, my product talking to another product, to another product.
Yeah, we're going to talk later.
It's all APIs. At the conference, our telco customers have been starting to talk about APIs. How do you see that intersection of your capabilities being exposed by the telcos? Are you an add-on? Do you provide product capabilities that then gets exposed out to external parties?
I'll take that. We actually, Symphonica is key to that. We're working with at least 2 operators to create an open gateway layer. Mm-hmm. But then Open Gateway talks to Symphonica. Symphonica exposes it about 20 Camara-defined APIs. And they use Symphonica to go to the network with no code. There's no coding, there's no connectors, no waiting, and like in a few days, you can just take the information and expose the API. So you will see that really soon. We're going to announce it next week. But API is going to be everything in the next year.
So Danielle, APIs, yes or no?
Yeah, I think a lot of people in telcos, maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of people in telcos sort of think of APIs exchange, a way to open up one application to share information with another. TM Forum is sort of like that, and it's more about exchange. And the way Totogi thinks about APIs is these are functional blocks. These are like little mini products. I don't like to call them microservices because I think that's the wrong technical name for it. But our churn predictor API is built on our machine learning model that's been trained, right? And because we're a SaaS platform, all that data is being ingested in a normalized way. It's being stored in DynamoDB, right? And being processed in the same way. And so now a telco that uses our product can use our churn prediction service and put it anywhere. Like, we're not going to tell you where it belongs. Right. You could put it in an app. You can put it in a website. You can put it in a chatbot. You can put it in customer service. You can put it in the BSS. It's just giving you an answer. But it's a function, right? It's like, what's the propensity that this subscriber is going to leave? And then you can couple that with other functionality, maybe that Totogi makes or doesn't, but like, what's the next best offer? Or should we escalate to an ambassador team? What should you do? And so we're really trying to put out functionality into the world that telcos can use in ways and make all sorts, it's just like Legos, and just like AWS services. We don't know how you're going to put these 2 things together, but this thing is a very well defined, it has an API, has a cost, use it however you want. And that's the way we're thinking about building our product.
Yeah. As far as we are concerned, we are mostly like the source for what is exposed in the open APIs. Because if you hear what are the use cases and the monetization use cases, okay, some of it is about authentication or fraud detection, etc. But the most promising one is around quality of service and performance related, where you want to sell quality of service on demand, or CSPs want to sell quality of service on demand, and they want to sell real-time on-demand connectivity, like premium connectivity services targeted at various use cases and industry vertical, etc., and monetize them. So we, as a service assurance vendor, MyCom OSI is collecting billions of disparate data points, turning them into curated, normalized data sets, giving that visibility on the quality of the various services, and now allowing the CSPs through the open gateway to expose them to third parties in, for example, digital marketplaces or through various different ways, and then to monetize them. But then this is in my view, the tip of the iceberg, because if you expose that info and somebody requests the quality of service on demand, then you need to deliver it. And you need to assure it and make sure that you can guarantee it. And this is where the AI that we were talking about, the autonomous networks, the automation of the operations is essential, because without it, you can't sustain that model, right? You need to make it happen. And this is where the combination of the open API or the APIs plus automation and AI are going to make this kind of new business opportunity materialize.
I love this vision. We've got this autonomous networks, we've got APIs on top, we start to monetize it with marketplaces. This is what we've been talking about in telco for decades now, but it's all starting to come together, and it's an amazing time to be in the industry. One last question, and then I'll let you all go. So you're all trying to change this industry. What is one thing AWS should be doing for you as you think about it, so that next year when we're
lowering the cost of DynamoDB. That's what I want to ask.
Perfect.
Right? More regions.
More credits.
I feel like I should ask the entire question.
Come on, go ahead.
But go ahead.
The entire question is, when we come back here next year, and the four of us are sitting here, but alongside us, we each have a customer.
Yeah.
And you're telling the story of how you've helped them get closer to this vision. What is one thing other than DynamoDB cost that we should be helping you with?
I will come back to the beginning. I think that we should be better educating people. I mean, Don has done an amazing job, and I commend you for that. But
thank you.
We should all continue investing in marketing efforts to get to people and make them understand that if there's no cloud, there's no autonomous networks, there's no AI. And AI today, there are some ML things you can do in your own data centers, but in the future, that's not going to be possible. So if there's no cloud, there's no future for telcos.
More telling the story. Love it.
Look, the regions is important, by the way, because for us, as far as I'm concerned, we have at least half of our customers, just to make it roughly speaking, who will still wait, at this point in time, are still waiting for a region to become available for them to migrate. So that's an essential part of the equation because of what we said initially on this industry. The other point, I would say, we have to jointly help our customer with realizing the use case. Because right now, there is a lot of promises, but what they want is to grow the top line. So I think, need to form like some form of consortium, like an ecosystem, to help our customers with the monetization opportunity. I think this is the barrier today, because the monetization opportunity is not very, very tangible to them. So that, I think, is kind of slowing down the entire process. It shouldn't be only a technology story. It should be really a business story, and we need to work together to help them, because right now the industry is struggling to turn this into a real business dollar-making opportunity.
So I heard broad availability, I heard ability to monetize.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to combine both of these, right? Which is telling the story in a business-focused way. I think the industry in general struggles with it, right? You saw the keynote from Matt Granwood yesterday was all about network APIs and open gateway, and a lot of the press is talking about like how are they going to monetize that, right? And I think as an industry, we're really excited to go after like new networks, 6G, new exciting stuff, the technology, and we're not really focused on what's the business case. And so, certainly at Totogi, I really like to make sure we're delivering business value. Like it's not just cool tech for tech's sake. It really is, hey, we think we can uplift your ARPU by 10 points. We think we can save you $130 million. We're going to write it down, and we're going to try to go after that. And then when we're done with it, let's tell the story about that. So telling the story at reInvent, telling the stories on podcasts, writing blogs about it, right? Like all I do all day long, it feels like, is write a blog or do a podcast or talk about it. But I think, you have to do exactly what you're saying, which is show them the money, and I think they will come screaming. They will come grabbing the product out of our hands, and that's certainly what we need as vendors.
Yeah, and maybe what I suggest, because, like, let's say BSS, right?
Yeah.
The gateway, the data, the assurance. I think these are the three components to make it happen. So what AWS can do, we are an ecosystem. Maybe you can do something to bring us together more.
Like
and
this?
we go as an integrated story, right, and make it happen with 1-2 champions. I think that would work.
Like Cloud City, maybe?
Lovely.
Maybe another Cloud City.
MVNO in the works.
Yeah.
So lovely to have all of you here. First, thank you. We wouldn't be building a ton of this innovation without your teams coming in and thinking about what you can do that is different in the industry. We're here for you. We will tell the story together with you.
Yeah.
This is part of us telling the
Yeah,
story.
Thank you, sir.
And if we end up doing the things that you've all talked about, which is the autonomous networks, the saving customers hundreds of millions of dollars, we will change this industry, and you're at the forefront of it. We appreciate you. You're awesome partners. Thank you.
Thank you, Shiva.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.